Hello, this is Mrs. Ridgway, and I'm going to be working on Excel Chapter 1, Getting Started with Excel. Be sure to work pages 1 through 14. I will be covering the tutorial beginning on page 15. We're going to be starting a new workbook. All right, so the first thing that you do is open the Excel software, and then click the File tab, choose New, and then click Blank Workbook. Blank Workbook. Okay, at the bottom of page 16, we're going to, if you look at the bottom, you'll see Sheet 1. All right, in Excel, this is called a workbook, and within the workbook are worksheets that you create. We're going to rename the worksheet. Double-click on Sheet 1 and type Miscellaneous Expenses. Check your spelling and then press Enter. A common business practice is to include a documentation worksheet that contains a description of the workbook, the name of the person who prepared the workbook, and the date that it was created. We're going to insert and name the documentation, and then we're going to create another worksheet called Site Information. To the right of Miscellaneous Expenses, at the bottom, click the little plus sign to create a new sheet. A new sheet named Sheet 2 appears just to the right of Miscellaneous Expense sheet. Double-click on Sheet 2. Let's name this Documentation. Documentation. Check your spelling and then press Enter. Click the plus to create a third worksheet. Double-click on Sheet 3, and then we're going to name this Site Information. Press Enter. Now, if you misspelled something, then all you have to do is right-click on it and choose Rename. Okay, if you misspelled something, one of these word in the tabs, then right-click and choose to rename. All right, now we're going to learn to move the documentation worksheet. You can move your tabs down at the bottom. We're going to move the documentation sheet to the left of Miscellaneous Expenses. So point to Documentation and then press and hold the mouse button and drag to the left of Miscellaneous and then drop. And that's how you simply move your tabs around. You can copy a worksheet by holding down the Control as you drag and drop the Sheet tab. Copying the worksheet duplicates all of the worksheet data and its structure. Okay, now we're going to learn how easy it is to delete a worksheet. Earlier, we created the Site Information worksheet. Place your mouse on Site Information and right-click and choose Delete. And that's how you delete a worksheet. On the Quick Access toolbar at the top, we're going to click the Save button, or you can choose Save As. And then let's browse to where we want to save our workbook. I want to save mine in the H. You'll save yours in the Z or wherever you're saving it. Then click in File Name text box, and we're going to name this workbook EX1 underscore miss, as in miscellaneous, underscore with your last name. And then underneath the File Name text box, look inside the Save As Type text box and make sure it shows Excel Workbook. Click Save. Okay, Now, worksheet cells can contain text, and these are called cells right here. This is, if I click here, it's A1 cell. These are all little cell boxes. And the cell reference for the active cell that I'm clicked in is A1. Worksheet cells can contain text, numbers, dates, and times. Text data is any combination of letters, numbers, and symbols. Numeric data is any number that can be used in a mathematical operation. Date data and time data are values displayed in commonly recognized date and time formats. By default, text is left aligned within the worksheet cells, and numbers, dates, and times are right aligned within cells. On page 19, go to the documentation sheet at the bottom. This is your worksheet. Click on it, and then make sure you're clicked in A1. Type Med IT in cell A1. As you type, the text appears in cell A1 and in the formula bar at the top as well. All right, we're going to press enter and enter again. Okay, so we pressed enter twice. The text is entered in A1 and the active cell moves down 2 rows to cell A3, excuse me. All right, now we're going to type the word author in cell A3 and then press tab. The text is entered and the active cell moves 1 column on the right. Okay, it's on to the right of B3. Now type your name. Okay, and then press enter. In A4, type the word date. Press tab, and we will enter the date later. Okay, now we're going to press enter to move to A5, and then type the word purpose in the cell, and then press tab. And we're going to type the purpose. Look at number 8. To estimate expenses at the Med IT convention. Okay, so look at it, make sure you did not misspell any words. And then we're ready to move to page 20. You know, Excel maintains a list of actions that you perform in the workbook during the current session, just like it does in Word. So you can undo most of your actions. You can use the undo button on the quick access toolbar, or you can use the shortcut keys on your keyboard, Control+Z to undo. If you want to undo more than one action, you can click the undo arrow and then select the earliest action you want to undo. All actions after that initial action will also be undone. On the quick access toolbar, let's click the undo button, which is pointing to the left. Okay, so it reversed the last action, removing the text that we entered in B5. Now we're going to type what you see on number 2. To estimate miscellaneous expenses at the Med IT convention in Boston. Okay, once you get it typed in, look at your sentence, make sure you have not misspelt anything. All right, and then press enter. If you want to restore an action, you restore an action that you have undone, you just simply choose the redo arrow, which points to the right. It's on the quick access toolbar. Or you can choose Control+Y on your keyboard to redo a button or redo a command. All right, so we're at the bottom of page 20. To replace all of the cell's content after you've typed in it, you simply select the cell. I'm going to select the cell. Well, actually, I want to select B5 because that's where we started entering. And then we could just start typing, and the new entry will overwrite the previous entry. If you want to replace only part of the cell's content, then you can switch the edit mode, switch to the edit mode to make the changes directly in the cell itself. To switch to edit mode, you just double click in the cell. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then a blinking insertion point indicates where the new content that you are typing will be inserted. In this case, we double clicked in B5, and now we need to use our arrow keys to move just to the right of the word convention. So let's do that. If you use your arrow keys, it will not delete. Just to the right of convention, and then we're going to backspace to erase the word convention, replacing the word with conference. So now it should read, to estimate miscellaneous expenses at the Med IT conference in Boston. Okay, from here, just press enter, and this will return to the ready mode. As you type text in the active cell, Excel tries to anticipate the remaining characters by displaying text that begins with the same letters as a previous entry in the same column. This feature is known as autocomplete. Autocomplete helps make entering repetitive text easier, and it reduces data in entry errors. To accept the suggested text, you just simply press the Tab key or the Enter key. Okay, at the bottom of page 21, click the Miscellaneous Expenses worksheet at the bottom. All right, our Miscellaneous Expenses sheet is now the active sheet. And then click in A1, and we're going to type what you see on page 22, number 2. Okay, be sure and check your spelling. Now I see I have to double click. I need to double click inside. Well, let's see, I've got to click off of it first. All right, double click, and I need to go in and correct conference. I misspelt it. Okay, so be sure and check and make sure you have no misspelt words. And then once you correct, then press enter. Okay, we're to press enter twice. So let's press enter another time. Type the word host in A3 and then press enter. The label is entered in the cell, and the active cell is now A4. In the range A4 through A8, we're going to enter the following labels, pressing enter after each entry and ignoring any autocomplete suggestions. So make sure you're in A4 and then type the word address, press enter, type city, enter, state, enter, postal code, enter, phone, enter. Okay, now click in B3, and we're going to enter the following information in step 6, pressing enter after each entry. Okay, Harbor Convention Center, enter, 1082 Suncrest Avenue, enter, Boston is the city, enter, Massachusetts, enter, the zip code 02128, enter, and then the phone number, parenthesis, 617, close the parenthesis, space, 555-1082. All right, now compare your work to what you see in the book in figure 14 and make sure that you have no no spelling errors anywhere. Okay, now notice that the postal code value in B7, I'm going to click in B7, is missing its leading 0. We're going to fix this. When you enter a number in a cell, Excel removes any leading zeros from integer values. So a number like 02128 that you entered in B7 is changed to 2128. Because the number is actually a postal code, it needs its leading 0. So you can instruct Excel to treat a number as text so that the leading 0 is not dropped. Okay, there's two ways to do that. You can type an apostrophe and then type a 0, or we can double click inside the B7 and then we can go up to the home group, or actually just first of all I need to click outside it and then go up to the numbers group on the home ribbon and click the down arrow next to general. General is the number format default. Okay, so general is the default for number formatting. And so we're going to click the down arrow and we're going to go to the very bottom and choose text. So we're going to treat the postal code as text. Okay, and then we're going to go up and we're going to double click inside the cell B7 and type a 0 and then press enter. The leading 0 remains in the entry and the entry is left aligned in the cell just like text would be. Okay, notice that a green triangle appears. Oh, okay, I've got to go back up and I've got to, okay, let me change this to text. Okay, I see. I needed to click on the box. Whoops. Needed to click on the box first and then change to text. And then once we change to text, go in and add the 0. Okay, so now we've got that taken care of. Now, let me press enter. All right, now notice that a green triangle appears in the upper left corner of cell B7. Excel uses green triangles to flag potential errors in cells. In this case, it is simply a warning that you displayed a number as text. But anytime you see a green triangle, you need to pay close attention to it because Excel is telling you there could possibly be an error. Okay, when we enter dates, Excel recognizes dates in any standard date formats. If you look at page 23, it's listing several different styles of date formats. Even though the dates are entered as text, Excel stores the date as a number. Okay, on page 24, click on Documentation Sheet at the bottom, and then click in B4 and type today's date, October 21st, 2019, and press enter. Okay, depending on your system configuration, Excel might change the date to the date format of the day, the month, and the year in that order, and that's what it did in my worksheet. This difference will not affect your work at all. Okay, number 3, we are to click the Miscellaneous Expenses tab, okay, at the bottom, the worksheet, and now the Miscellaneous Expenses worksheet is our active sheet. Okay, we're going to enter the first 3 columns of the table that you see up at the top in figure 16. the first 3 columns of information. In the miscellaneous worksheet, click A10, A10, and then type expense category. Okay, make sure everything is spelled correctly, and then press the tab and type subcategory. And then tab, and then type description, and then press enter. All right, so in A11 through C15, we're going to enter the expense category, the subcategory, and the description text information for the 5 miscellaneous expenses. So we're going to look up at figure 16, and we're going to type, pressing the tab to move from one cell to the next, and then pressing enter to move to the new row. Now note that the text in some cells will be partially hidden. We're going to fix this later. All right, so let's enter the information. E2, and then 9010, pressing tab, and then type printing of brochures and conference materials, then tab, and then we're, oh yes, we're gonna press enter. Okay, now I see there is a green triangle telling me there's possibly an error, and so I'm gonna click on this box, and I see that I need to go up since the subcategory is a number, and I need to change this back to general. And then press enter, see if it works. Well, it did not work, so maybe I'm going to click this little convert to number, convert to a number. So I'm going to choose convert to a number. All right, so we're going to go ahead and enter the rest of the information. Okay, so we have all our information entered into Excel. Now we're going to turn to page 26. In Excel, numbers can be integers such as like 378. They can be decimals such as 1.95, or they can be negative values such as a negative 2.5. Okay, and you can include currency symbols or percent signs with numbers. We're going to enter the miscellaneous expenses. So click in D10, and be sure to make sure you have no misspelled words. Okay, so we're going to click in D10, and then type the word units, tab, and type cost per unit. Press enter, and then we're going to type 1600, tab, and then $2.45. Press enter, and we'll enter the remaining information. Okay, so we've entered in our information. Be sure to check the numbers against the book. Make sure you've not transposed any numbers, got anything backwards. So you need to make sure the numbers match. And then we're going to save. So go to the quick access toolbar and save. On page 27, there are several ways to resize columns and rows. Column widths are expressed as the number of characters that the column can contain. The default column width is 8.43, whereas a row height is 15. And so they're going to show us here in the book 3 different ways to set a column width. Okay, starting at the bottom of page 27, point to the right border of column A heading. Now the heading's up at the top. Point to the right, okay, the right border until you see an arrow pointing left and right, and then you're going to press down on your button and drag to the right until the width of the column heading reaches 18 characters. All right, so you're going to see a screen tip that appears as you resize the column, and it'll show you where you're at as you're dragging. So let's drag, and we want to drag to 18. And then drop. Okay, that's column A, and so now you can see all the information clearly in column A. All right, now we're going to turn to page 28. You can change the width of multiple columns all at one time. Okay, and like you can click on, let's say, B through E, and then you can change all of these at one time by using the format button. Okay, now the book at the bottom of page 28, we're going to click the column B heading at the top, and it's going to select the entire column. On the home tab in the cells group to the right, we're going to click the format button, and then we're going to choose column width and type 12. Now, if we would have selected B through E and type of 12, it would change all of those columns instantly. All right, so we've typed in 12, and we're going to click OK for column B. The width of column B is set to exactly 12 characters now. All right, now just click anywhere on the sheet to deselect. Page 29, you can also use the AutoFit feature to automatically adjust a column width or row height to accommodate its widest or its tallest entry. We've learned about AutoFit in Word. To AutoFit a column to the width of its contents, you just simply double-click the right border of the column heading. Okay, in Word, we double-clicked the right border. It's the same with Excel. Okay, now on page 29, point to the right border of column C. All right, so column C, I'm pointing to it, and then double click. And then it'll adjust to the longest text information in that column. All right, now we are to change AutoFit column E. So we're going to go to the right border of column E and double click, and it will fit its content. The cost per unit is the widest text information that it adjusted to. All right, at the bottom of page 29, when you wrap text within a cell, any content that does not fit on the first line is displayed on a new line in the cell, within the cell itself. All right, now on page 30, we're going to resize the width of column C to 30 characters. All right, so we're going to drag, or you could click on C, either way. I'm going to click C to be more accurate, and I'm going to choose format, column width, and I'm going to type 30, and then click OK. And then I'm going to deselect. Okay, from here, select the range C11 through C15. Be careful not to choose description. We're going to choose 11 through 15. And then on the Home tab ribbon at the top, in the alignment group, click Wrap text. So I'm going to click Wrap Text. The Wrap Text button is highlighted, indicating that it is applied to the selected range. Any text in the selected cells that exceeds the column width wraps to a new line. As you see, I'm going to deselect so you can see it wrapped right here on row 11, and it also wrapped here in row 14. All right, so I deselected anywhere to deselect. Another way to create a new line within a cell is to use or to press Alt plus Enter on your keyboard where you want the new line to start. Okay, so in Word, we use Shift plus Enter to move to the next line without creating a paragraph. In Excel, you use Alt plus Enter to move to the next line within the cell. Okay, now we're going to change row heights. The default, again, for height is 15 points. There are several ways to set the row height. You can use Format. You know, if I click on Format, you can choose right here, AutoFit the row height. You can choose row height itself and type in the number, but that's one way that we learned with widening the columns. Okay, on page 31, we're going to change row 14. We're going to change the height. So go over to row 14 and right until you're on the 14 heading, go to the bottom border right below 14, and then to resize, you're going to drag the bottom border up until it shows 18 in your little screen tip. Okay, so there's 18. Okay, so that's not looking quite right. So let me figure this out real quick. Okay, so I'm going to try this again. It says to resize the width of column C to 30. Let's see what it's on. Well, there it is. I've got it on 30. And then select C 11 through 15. And then we're to click the wrap text. Okay. And then deselect. And then move. Okay, so it's not adjusting, and I'm trying to figure out why. So maybe this needs to be, let me undo. Maybe I need to widen this some more. Okay. And then select. Wrap text. All right. Deselect. And then move this up to 18. Okay, that's how it should work right there. So it's looking like, let's see what I had to, I went to 30.71. So in the book, it's showing 30, and I used 30.71. So anywhere between 30.29 and 30.71 should work. Okay, so this concludes session 1 of Excel chapter 1.